Alrighty, everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the last podcast of Krypton. I'm your host, Echo Fox Theo, and this week we are joined by a very, very special guest. Injustice Pro Series finalist, one of the best Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 players, CEO 2017 champion, might I add that, Mr. Renegade's Whiteboi. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good this evening, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing not bad at all, man.
All right, all right.
Alrighty, so just a quick message for anyone who's wondering. So this specific episode, I'm doing off stream just due to technical issues, but it will be uploaded on YouTube, as some of you might be watching this on YouTube right now. But in case you guys were wondering why this episode was not on Twitch, it was due to some frame drop errors. So I just settled for doing it off stream. But anyway, let's get right into it. Now, I just want to start like with the most direct question possible. So when Injustice 2 first came out, you obviously decided to go ahead and main Scarecrow, which you still do as of right now, I assume. The first tournament that Injustice 2 had was Combo Breaker 2017, which I remember you placed top 16 in, which to some people might be good, but to your standards is obviously not up to par.
Yeah.
And then, out of nowhere, you won CEO 2017, which to this day is one of the most stacked tournaments we've ever had in Injustice 2's life. So my question to you, Whiteboi, is what the fuck? How did you go from not doing that well in Combo Breaker to just out of nowhere turning Super Saiyan and winning CEO 2017? What was your mindset like? Like, what happened?
From what? From Combo Breaker to CEO?
Yeah, exactly. From getting top 16 at
Um.
Combo Breaker to winning CEO.
Well, I at the time of CE at Combo Breaker, I wasn't actually sure if I was gonna be playing Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt like I played a lot more Aquaman at Combo Breaker than I did actually in Scarecrow actually at Combo Breaker at that time because he was Aquaman's legacy character, and I'm like, well, I can play him because the game was just like what 2 weeks later was Gunbreaker once the game released.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really sure who I was playing. I wanted to play Grodd, but then I realized he was far too technical for me. Not much of a technical player. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about maybe Atrocitus, Scarecrow, and then the easier answer was maybe just Aquaman because he's a legacy character, and I used to side him back in the Injustice 1. So it was a lot of things going through my head at the time of Combo Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And for CEO, it was a lot of those things that got out of my head. I wasn't going to play Grodd, I knew that for sure. I wasn't going to play Atrocitus. I was going to pocket maybe Aquaman just for like one or two really rough matchups, and then I was going to really focus on Scarecrow. And I think by doing that, I was able to start figuring out what Scarecrow was supposed to be doing before everyone else figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gave me an edge at CEO.
So that being said, do you feel like your victory at CEO was due in part to your opponents not being as prepared for Scarecrow as they should have been?
Definitely a mixture like that. Yeah, like it's definitely a big factor. I think that when you play a character specialist and character isn't like super top tier, stuff like that, it definitely plays a hand of like no one was looking at Scarecrow at the time. If I remember correctly, it was the term was Bill Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Still respect that term to this day, but no one looked at him. It's like he's not worth your time. He's not worth looking at. The only two people that were really trying to bring him on the map, like competitively, was me and Toxin.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us did okay at Combo Breaker. We made it out of pools, get to top 13, stuff like that, but nothing to really write home about.
Right.
And then I started doing well at the locals and stuff like that, having my strategy and stuff like that. I started doing okay, just smashing.
Right.
And no one really knew what they're supposed to do there, and it definitely freaked out some people.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it helped because at that era, I think at CEO, Adam was the craze. A lot of people were, Adam, and early on, the Adams were like, maybe Scarecrow's not good, but Scarecrow gives us a lot of problems, and so it makes Adam mains not want to play Adam against Scarecrows and all that. So it helped dodge like a lot of that nonsense.
Right. Right. So you're able to bypass a lot of the like
Bypass,
pre-patch,
yeah.
yeah, pre-patch Black Adam threat. I mean, it's just such an inspirational story because I know I started off just talking right about from Combo Breaker to Injustice 2, but your kind of rise to fame, and then I'd say stagnation, and then re-rise to fame. Like it has such a huge context to it, because from what I remember as an Injustice 1 player myself, is that you had a lot of top eights under your belt in Injustice 1 with Doomsday. You had SoCal Regionals, you had MLG Anaheim, UFGT, West Coast Warzone, etc., etc., etc. So you were already very, very well established in the NRS scene due to Injustice 1. And then when Mortal Kombat X came out, you kind of like. I know a lot of people said you were great in casuals, like you owned a lot of people's souls in casuals with Jason, but it seems like you weren't able to piece it together in tournament similar to what you did in Injustice 1 and now Injustice 2. So, what was that kind of dead zone in MKX where you weren't able to match your placements in Injustice 1 and Injustice 2? Like, what was going on in that game?
Um, quite a lot of things, honestly. Like there was a, I want to, he has a player who had success. You want to just blame the game and be like, oh, it's just this, this is my game. It was MK. I'm an Injustice guy, which is true. I am an Injustice guy. I'm more suited for the slower play style
Mm-hmm.
of Injustice, but like there's a lot of mental blocks of because of failures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me start off like from the beginning on that. I played Ferritor
Okay.
because it's a big monster, and I like monsters. And besides like mashing down one, which everyone knows if you're a fan of Whiteboi, that I love mashing down one or tactically pressing it fast.
Oh, I know. I know.
You know. And so I tried him out. I didn't. It was a weird playstyle. It wasn't really me, I would say. Just not like my kind of character and stuff like that. So then I was like, I need to find a new character. I wasn't having success. I thought I was going to have success at the beginning because Injustice 1 was my first actual competitive fighting game, so I knew a lot of influences from Injustice 1 and my it's a little bit slower learning. I have a bit of a slower when I learn a game, stuff like that. It takes me a bit more time, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
usually. So I knew I wasn't going to do well immediately, but then never did well at all at the time. So then I got frustrated. I'm like, I'm going to pick up a new character, and they had Jason released, and I wanted to play him when he first released, but he was really, really, really bad. And they fixed him. They made him a little better and stuff like that. He was still bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was low tier, but I thought he was a bit better. So I tried to play him because I love horror movies. I love those kind of characters. Jason's probably my favorite killer.
Right.
So I thought, I want to get attached to a character and stuff like that. I think that's important in fighting games, by the way, that you should really get attached and really get into your character lore and all stuff like that. So I knew I could get attached to Jason and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't really. It made me, I think, enjoy the game a bit more.
Okay.
So I'm not a comic guy. So it wasn't my thing. Those kind of characters. So it made me enjoy the game a lot more playing him. I think it helped my play in casuals and stuff like that. But then still didn't do well in tournament. I think I got one top 16. Like I beat Foxy Grandpa at NEC, who was a huge favorite at that time to like either win it or make top 8.
Right.
I beat him in the pools against Kung Lao, which was a really rough matchup at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe that would be help break through, but I still hadn't lost, and they're lost here, they're lost there. And I think mentally it was extremely draining. Like you start thinking, oh, gonna go to a tournament, gonna go lose, and stuff like that, and it was really, really frustrating. Like I don't think you understand how many times I thought of just quitting, to be like retiring, stop playing, like just not worth it, wait it out for the next game. But stubborn pride, the competitive nature that thanks to my dad, like that, kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not for the better, maybe. Like I guess I could take the lessons from MKX failure, stuff like that, to help for the future and stuff like that. But it still was really rough. So then, skip forward to Injustice 2. I stopped at I think SCR 2016. I went to Combo Breaker, as you said, got 13th, and I was like, oh no, I found a character yet. I'm gonna lose. This is great. I'm gonna repeat the whole MKX thing. And I just had to keep pushing that in the back of my head. Like, no, it's a new game. It's a new game. It's an older game. You know this game.
So you thought like when you got 13th at Combo Breaker, you just assume to yourself that history is repeating itself with MKX, essentially?
Definitely, it definitely creeped up in my head. You got 13th again. This was a game that you were good at the first time, and then you start thinking, well, maybe it wasn't my failure in MKX. The engine not being my kind of thing. Mental issues. Maybe it's just I'm just not a good player. Maybe it was just Doom. Some people would say, some people back in just want to say, Doomsday, even though he's not like he was a top 10 character, wasn't broke or anything like that, except for certain people. Sorry, Raven players. That maybe he carried me because how simple he was. So all those thoughts creeped in the back of your head when that happened.
Right.
So I tried my best to push him down because of my stubbornness. No, keep playing it out, keep trying. Go to CEO, go to Evo, and stuff like that. And then I went to CEO, and he's solid results and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, CEO. Your victory at CEO definitely shocked the world, and it wasn't because people didn't think you were good enough. We all knew that you were a great player at the time. When a lot of us played you in casuals at CEO, and even like a few days before CEO, we all thought to ourselves, "Oh my god, like Whiteboi is playing like a champion. He's playing as if he's out here to win the tournament." Did you just grind a lot more between Combo Breaker and CEO? Did you just like turn on something in your mindset that just made you go Super Saiyan? It's the only reason the only reason I'm emphasizing this question is because there's a lot of people in multiple fighting game communities where they want to be like the next big thing, or they want to be a threat in the tournament scene. But after one tournament loss or two tournament losses or an online loss, they just lose that motivation. They think to themselves, okay, I'm not good enough. This was never meant to be.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm emphasizing this so much in the beginning of the podcast is I want people to get some kind of inspiration out of this. I want people to basically learn from you and just your journey through all these games, like what exactly you turned on in your head that just made you go back to your old self again. Because trust me, it's not something very common amongst us fellow competitive fighting game players. Like once we're down in the dumps, like it's hard to get up out of that.
I know that's why it's definitely scared me at Combo Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm just stupidly stubborn. To a huge fault. Like when I know I probably should stop here or relax or just maybe give up. I just refuse to because I'm like I can't go out like this. This is not how Whiteboi goes out.
Right.
I'm burning myself as a person. And, you just have to for a player. You just have to push down those thoughts a lot.
Right.
Because they will pop up. Anyone that says, "Oh, when you don't make the top 8, you don't understand that you never miss a top 8." But when you miss a top 8 or something like that, you start thinking maybe I'm not so good and stuff like that, or you get body or stuff like that. Like maybe I'm not that good as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
And you drown in pools. You get beat by someone that probably shouldn't beat you. Which seems kind of harsh, but you start thinking about that, and you just have to push that aside. Be like, no, I know I can do this, and stuff like that. Yeah, I can do this if I try hard enough and stuff like that.
Right. It's completely understandable. And what's crazy about kind of tournament losses hitting your self-confidence, and this is just my own philosophy, like I want to give some input on this. I feel like no matter how top you are in a fighting game, you're always going to want more. You're always going to want to reach the next level. Like, for example, in your case, obviously CEO 2017 wasn't enough. You wanted more because you're a competitive player. So if you missed a top 8 the next time, it obviously hit your self-confidence because that's not what you felt like you deserved as a player. Even in some cases, I'll just give an example on my case. In Injustice 1, I won 3 majors before Evo. So I thought to myself, okay, is this enough? Did I prove my legacy? Like, can I feel complacent now that I won all these tournaments? And then came Evo 2014, which I didn't do up to par. I got a whopping, 7th place, getting upset 1, arguably 2 times. A lot of people might have told me that you got top 8 at Evo, like, what does it matter? It's fine. You got top 8, just, like, go home with that. But again, that goes against my philosophy where you're always going to want more. No matter how high you are somewhere, you're always going to want more. And in my case, at that point, an Evo mere top 8 wasn't enough. I wanted to win or get, top 3 at a bare minimum. So I feel like that's kind of like a cautionary tale where you can never don't ever get complacent with whatever. I feel like I'm trying to like put this into. I feel like I'm just trying to like put this into as much like.
You, you always want to reach out for more. If you ever just settle for your 5th place and stuff like that, you never really 100% grow. You're gonna be that 5th place guy forever. You're like, I'm good with this. And stuff
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if you have that real attitude, some people don't. Some people are okay with that, and they're okay with being 5th place guys, and that's perfectly fine. You're like, hey, I made top 8. I'm perfectly good. It's also, as a character specialist, you have to accept that as well. Like, you have to get that part of the mentality. Like, hey, I made top 8. That's good enough for me. But, like, you have a mindset. You want to be, like, a champion, stuff like that, and you win.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that sake. Like, I got 7th. Not good enough. I got 5th. Not good. Like, you have to keep thinking it. And you win a tournament. Like, gotta do it again. I have to do it again. And what will happen is when you don't win that tournament, it will restart the whole cycle. It's like, now it's like, I need to get back into the top 8. I need to win this tournament, stuff like that. I need to place at Evo. I need to place higher. It's a never-ending loop and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, you can see Sonic. Sonic is one. I don't even know how many at this point.
Yeah.
But it's jealous. He's won so many about this, but you can see he doesn't like to lose. Like,
Of course
he
not.
got 5th at Evo, and it bothered him. It's like it's first Evo he hasn't won, and it's still to this point. It's still it triggered him not to win.
Yeah, of course, because it kind of goes back to that point that no matter what, you're always going to want more. So 16-bit is one of our good friends, and
Yes.
I remember during I think it was Combo Breaker 2016 when there was an Injustice side tournament.
Yeah.
I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but I remember Sonic coming up to him and saying something like, "I need to win this tournament," and then 16-bit said, "Wait, but you already proved that you were like the best in that game. Why do you need to win this one?" And then Sonic said, "Because I really need to prove that I was the best no matter what. So I really need to win this tournament, even if it's a side tournament." And it basically shows you that even though, like, to the public you're considered the best, it puts more pressure on yourself just to win every single tournament left and right, even if it's a side tournament or a main tournament or an Evo. It's just
absolutely.
You hate to lose. Like, the more you win, the more you hate to lose is kind of like what I'm trying to get at from all this. But that being said, yeah, exactly. But I mean, that being said, how do you feel about Scarecrow throughout your entire Injustice 2 run, in the highs and the lows? What do you really feel about this character?
Okay.
Did I just ask a loaded question to you?
Trying to think, trying to keep my bias as down as much as possible and stuff like that. I think he's a mid-tier character.
Okay.
I think he's okay. I think has some good things about him, and that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does well against certain characters and players specifically. You know who you are. But he definitely has a lot of issues against the zoners and stuff like that, which is predicted for a grappler of sorts, that he's going to have those issues.
Yeah.
I wish he was a bit better. He walks a fine line where if you do too much, you could probably make him a little too strong.
Mm-hmm.
But you always wish for a character to be better and stuff like that. So
yeah, of course, absolutely.
He's an okay character.
But it also walks that fine line where you think to yourself, okay, let's say this character gets buffed to the moon, and then he becomes like top 5. Like for an Injustice Season 2. Let's say Scarecrow is top 5 in Injustice Season 2, and that's undisputable.
Okay.
Even though you're most likely going to consistently place in the top 8 much more and also win tournaments much more because he's a bigger threat, it also potentially compromises the props you get from playing that
Absolutely.
character.
Well, if anyone that knows about wanting props and stuff like that, it's like 16-bit me, even Cowboy, even though he's never gonna get them.
Yeah.
Um, no, it definitely when you play a higher like top 5 character, you definitely get rid of your props. You lose your option selects a lot. You're like, oh, dude, I lost. He's not that good. It is what it is. I love doing that stuff, but
Yeah.
you definitely lose all that when your character becomes top 5 and stuff like that. You gain a character that can maybe get you to win
Hmm.
and stuff like that a lot easier and stuff like that. But you often lose a lot as well.
Of course, of course.
And it depends what kind of player. If you're like, I don't care about. Do I care about winning more? The answer is yes, but with style.
But that being said, would you rather consistently place top 5, top 4, top 3 with a mid-tier character and know you're always going to get props, or would you rather place top 3 and win a bunch of big tournaments with an undisputable top 5 scarecrow but know that you're not going to get as much props? Which one would you rather live with?
that's that's always hard. Like he's like, the answer is gonna be I'm gonna move aside props. The answer would probably be like you want your favorite character to be top so you can win tournaments and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like some part of you is like, dude, I don't really love these props.
Yeah,
Like feed me, Seymour, feed me.
of course, of course.
That's yeah. I'd say I'd want to win more because CEO feeling was tremendous, but at the same time, I'm okay with the just being with a mid tier character. Maybe win one here and stuff like that. It's play Scarecrow, have fun, have people enjoy it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't trade anything right now for how Scarecrow is, except maybe a faster walk speed. Just
Yeah, that's where we have to pray to Lord Paulo essentially to bless you.
I don't know.
And and the thing is, like, the risk of playing a top tier character is that when you lose with a top tier character, it hurts your self confidence because then you tell yourself, if I'm losing with a character with little to no bad matchups, that automatically means it's an indictment on me as a player and not an indictment on the character. Because you brought back option selecting a couple of minutes ago, where if you lose with a character, you can OS that it's a bad matchup, mid tier character, Paulo's
Yeah,
vision, etc., etc.,
trouble.
etc.
Thanks, Paulo. No.
But then, but then when you lose with a top tier character, it hurts your self confidence because then it brings up the question of maybe I'm just not as a player good enough to place with a top tier character. So yeah, it's just so interesting how this mid tier main to top tier main, like, it both has its pros and cons, both in the props department, in the self confidence department, making money, etc., etc.
To me, I my answer, if I could just my thing answer would be is to play a character, even if they're not really good. You should always try to play a character that fits you or
Yeah, of
you really
course.
like. If you don't, if it doesn't matter if the character's top. I think that's an issue of mine right now a little bit is that it doesn't matter if the character's really top. If that character does not fit you, or you don't have really any attachment to it, or whatever like that, and you're not gonna do well unless you're Sonic. You can play any character, but that doesn't matter.
Of
But like if
course.
you're like a guy of my level or anymore, like you got to play to your strength and you have to realize your limitations and stuff like that. And I think Scarecrow, for the most part, complements my strength. Has has its weaknesses, but it benefits me more as a player.
Of course. Now that being said, what I noticed is between August to around October, the last chance qualifier, you decided to diversify your character arsenal a little bit. You decided to go to Deadshot for a few matchups. How do you think that venture into top tier land panned out for you? Did it do more harm than good? Do you regret doing it, or do you not regret doing it?
It's that is a fantastic question, and I definitely say I would probably regret it more. Like I think that I am, even if it's a really terrible matchup, think I am better with Squank's main. Like even if it's a 7-3, I think I am better off probably fighting with Scarecrow, except for like certain characters. Like I was my Deadshot was able to win against Wonder Woman because of how hard the matchup is.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's definitely worked out at like one spot, but the most part and stuff like that, I'm better against Deadshot with my Scarecrow, Green Arrow with my Scarecrow,
Right.
all Scarecrow. But then you have to think about it. Well, maybe as you know, you competed as yourself, that the Pro Series was really back to back to back to back in that time, like a little that period and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's only maybe like a 2-week period here to train up a secondary as much as you possibly could. So you start thinking, maybe I just need more time with my Deadshot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to grind him out more. That it's not because he's not my kind of character and stuff like that. And she's, you get into that kind of issue and stuff like that. And then I think I came to the conclusion is that I had said earlier that I think I have to play to my strengths and play just a character that I like. Because I'm not going to enjoy myself trying to, what's it called, play a top tier character that does not fit me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll find more success overall with just grinding it out as much as possible.
Right. So, that being said, that you felt like you regretted it more than you didn't regret it. Going forward for future tournaments, what is going to be your game plan? Are you going to just stay a loyalist? Are you going to try to have another go at diversifying yourself and see if you can find a diamond in the rough with another character? Like, what's going to happen?
Right now, for characters currently in the game, I don't really think there's another character that I could really like. I like characters. I like Bane, but he's not gonna. No point in learning Bane. He's not my kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Never gonna touch Swamp Thing for love life of me. And shout out to Swamp Thing. Sure, knows that.
I know, right?
But no character right now I think would benefit me more than just playing Scarecrow. I'll probably keep Deadshot just for like Wonder Woman because it's such an easy matchup that I could just use at any moment if I get that tough scenario.
Yeah.
I will probably be mostly playing Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
There is an exception. I would say actually let me interrupt that. There's an exception. Hellboy. I get to see anything about Hellboy. No trailer out yet. Just seen the thing, but. I really like Hellboy as a character. I have his books, comic books. I watch movies religiously.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that character a lot, and I think he could be like the exception to the rule where I either just main him or like co-main him with Scarecrow because I really like that character just as much as I like Scarecrow or even more.
And that's certainly going to help you take the character to the next level, like you did with Scarecrow at CEO and other premiere events that you placed top 8 in.
Yeah.
And kind of going into the DLC area, what's been kind of interesting is that it's kind of been a trend in NRS games where more often than not, DLC is incredibly strong, then it's incredibly weak. And kind of just as a history lesson, like in Mortal Kombat 9, Kenshi and Freddy, both incredibly strong characters.
Freddy was cool, yes.
Yes. Injustice 1, you had Martian Manhunter and Batgirl, like arguably number 1 and number 2 or number 3. I mean, obviously Aquaman was in there as number 2 as well, but you see my point.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat X, even though I wasn't around for that, I heard that Alien was incredibly strong. I heard that Vanilla Tanya was very strong, and I believe it was Smoke that was very strong, if I'm not mistaken.
The robots, yeah, Triforce was really a good, really good character.
Okay. Now, kind of just going to that, in Injustice 2, you see more often than not that the DLC seem to be more on the balanced side than the really, really, really broken side. Because if we just kind of go on a case by case basis, like, what was the first DLC that came out?
First DLC was Darkseid.
Yeah, Darkseid.
Darkseid he's always on the line. Some people say he's top 5. Some say he's just top 10. I'm more on the latter. Like the latter, I think he's not as. I think he's really strong, and it takes a very certain player to play him.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's broke or anything like that. And I think he has some issues that people are exploiting or at this moment.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting, because whether or not Darkseid is top 10 or top 5, it's almost undisputable that he's no alien. He's no Kenshi.
Yeah.
He's no Martian Manhunter. And then moving down that list, you have Red Hood, who's kind of an exception to that. A lot of people think Red Hood is like top 3, top 2, maybe even the best in the game. But one thing that's for sure is number 1, he's a lot more difficult to master at that level than some other past DLCs. And number 2, you can still make the case that he's probably not the best since this game is so balanced. It's not like he's this force of nature that's killing the game. He's just a very, very technical character that is probably like a top 5 character. EX Lunge is really good. His mix is really good, but he's no alien. Is kind of the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have in my top 3. Personally, I have as my number 1. But
Which is fine.
first, again, everyone has different opinions on that, and it's great. That's how balanced this game is. That you could argue who's the top 3 and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's definitely none of those characters. I don't look at him. I personally dislike him, but Scarecrow, bad matchups. But
Bad matchup, Scarecrow.
Go Crow. He definitely is way more balanced than like Kenshi or those characters, as you said. They did a fantastic job with him overall. Like he's, as he also mentioned, that the reason why people are like, well, why don't we get to see more Red Hood? Because he's very technical. He got another replacement. Besides Lunge. Lunge is one of the greatest, dumbest moves I've seen.
Yeah, Lunge is dumb. I want to clarify.
It's very derpy.
I'm not trying to be a denialist and saying that he's fine, and he's golden and it's all sunshine and rainbows. Like, do I think Lunge needs to be addressed? Sure, but
he's Oki.
yeah, but the point is he's not like Cabal in a Red Hood mask where he's just decimating the game.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the next DLC after that?
I think it was. Okay,
Sub-Zero?
here. Yeah, so there's Sub-Zero, which some say is top 15. Others, if your name starts with Buffalo, he's the worst in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Sub-Zero's a good character, but I don't have him in my top 15. So that, again, continues the Injustice 2 trend of the DLC characters not being that I mean, do you have a different opinion on Sub-Zero?
No. I definitely think what you just said is actually how I feel, and you secretly think he's top 10, aka broke, but broke 0. No, but your political statement right there.
My political statement.
Yeah, this of Sub-Zero. That's definitely what I think of him. Like I think he's definitely not trash. I think he has issues,
Mm-hmm.
but he has damage. He's really good with interactables. He can definitely do well in like the right hands and a favorable path.
Yeah, of course. And then moving on, we have Black Manta, who I feel like is in the same realm as Sub-Zero, where he's not trash, obviously, but he's not like, at least from what we've noticed, he's not broken. He just has pretty solid footsies. He has pretty solid anti-zoning. His damage is on the lower end, but he can do some chunks with the right optimization. Yeah, so he's just a pretty decent character. Unless you disagree.
No, it's a bit boring, but I agree with that. He's kind of reminds me of the Cyber Kano a bit of this game.
Mhm.
Cyber Kano was a bit weaker, I'd say, than some of the other Kanos in MKX and stuff like that, but it was overall still good character. Good normals, good anti-air, great anti-air actually.
Yeah, great anti-air.
He has solid chip. As you said, you listed off. He's just a really well balanced character and stuff like that. And
he's like
some people are they're trying to find what makes him scary. I don't think it is anything. I think it's just that I don't think he's gonna lose badly to any character. I don't think he's gonna really beat any character badly besides Scarecrow. And yeah, so he's just really well just there, right in the middle. I think.
Yeah, and it's like, if Red Hood is the pumpkin spice latte of the game, then I would say Black Manta is just the regular latte of the game.
He's the flat white.
He's just a flat white latte. Lattes aren't great. They're not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but lattes aren't bad. He's just a normal freaking latte.
He's good. Again, as you said, Red Hood, pumpkin spice latte. Everyone should be drinking that. This is just not judging anyone for drinking it. Just not saying who drinks it, but yeah, no, I said that's definitely a good good comparison.
Yeah, definitely. And
Oh,
then
we missed Starfire, by the way.
what's up?
We missed Starfire since she came first before Manta.
Oh, dude, and the thing about Starfire is okay. So when Starfire first came out, people thought she was going to destroy the game. She was
The
going to
doom is
destroy the Injustice Pro Series finale. They thought the game is over, the game is dead, Chip is going to
Star
destroy the
Fox,
game. Like her
Fire.
she's going to flip her hair all the way to the $200,000 pop bonus.
Yeah.
Now,
Just like the,
now mind you, NRS did tone down her chip and damage, a tad bit.
yeah, it was a very rational and reasonable amount they decreased it by because she was doing a bit too much damage, but like it wasn't like they destroyed her damage. She still does great damage.
Yeah, exactly.
But as I think you're alluding to, is like she's now just not talked about at all. People are like, she's okay and stuff like that. When nothing really changed besides the damage, I'd say.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like someone's gonna be like, well, actually, her frame data was. Unless someone's gonna come in and tell me that, like, I don't know what made her drop so harsh because it seemed like she was like, then she's a next Deadshot. Woe is us. Doom and Gloom. LOL.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of
weird.
it's kind of crazy how besides Sonic Fox winning most of the majors, there hasn't really been a consistent there hasn't really been a consistent saturation of a specific character in top eights. Obviously, you have the notorious ECT top eight where there was a lot of dead shots. You have some of the earlier top eights where there was pre-patch Black Adam.
Yeah.
But a lot of those didn't really persist throughout the game, besides Sonic Fox winning.
Nope.
So,
They're-
so yeah, I feel like out of all of that, you just have to tip your hats off to NRS for making the game as balanced as they possibly could. Because I think no matter if you ask someone who likes the game or doesn't like the game as much, most people would agree that this is the most balanced product NRS has ever put out in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone's like, oh, this game's not very balanced. Let's go back to MKX and stuff like that. This game is, yeah, I know. You can see it.
Yeah.
You see those comments a lot, though. Everyone's just like, oh, this game's not that good. It's not so balanced. Like, it really is. There's definitely a clear top 5 and stuff like that, or top 3.
Yeah.
But like, you see Robin still places, even though Hayate would not murder me for saying so.
Yeah, Hayate's gonna fly all the way from Montreal to like.
You see the struggle character Flash make top 8s. Like,
yeah,
it's just hard. It's a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
These scarecrows, poor Doctor Bill, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you see Banes. You see Green Lantern. You saw Green Lantern versus Adam, which is most people agree that he's top 5 or just right outside of it. Adam.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Gross beat Dragon, the premiere Black Adam.
Yeah.
Twice and stuff like that with Green Lantern. So like it's really very different characters are popping up constantly. So you see your face, unless Deadshot pops up, hold that. No finger pointing for you, sir. But yeah, they've done a really fantastic job of keeping the game at mostly level and stuff like that, getting the people in different top 8s and stuff like that. Just making it a kind of a free for all, except for first.
Yeah, of course. And it's kind of like there's a lot of tension going into E-League because a lot of people say that Sonic Fox has been focusing on Marvel a lot more than Injustice 2 going into E-League, so that might be the time to dethrone him. But in my opinion, and just because, Sonic Fox is my teammate, I feel like stuff like that doesn't really hinder him that much. I mean, is it possible for someone to take first instead of him? Absolutely. Anything can happen in any tournament.
Yeah.
But are we most likely still going to see Sonic Fox in peak form going into that tournament? I think so. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's there's a few times you'll see Sonic off his game. Like I think this Evo, I think he just got sick, and you could see he was a little off, just a little bit off. But again, by little off, he made top 8 Evo, still beating you and everyone else.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But you can see there is sometimes chinks in his armor and stuff like that. He
Yeah,
hasn't lost since Evo, and I think he's probably been playing a bunch, rewarming himself up and stuff like that. I've seen him out gassing through games. I think anyone thinking like, oh, this is the time. Definitely admirable, and I think you should definitely go in with that attitude. But I don't think it will hinder him very much.
yeah, exactly. Now that being said, you got your Renegade sponsor
Yeah,
in the midst of Injustice, and they've been doing a fantastic job sending you out to all these majors, which in turn also gives you a lot of media coverage. I know
yeah,
that you participated in Chasing the Cup, and you participated in some Injustice 2 IPS finals, shots with like the player profile and stuff like that. What was it like going through that much like film related stuff? Did you like it, dislike it, pros, cons? Lay it all out there.
Um, I it was definitely a new experience. Like I've never done that before. As a lowly Injustice One guy who didn't have anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it it was fun at times. It was kind of a bit comedic because you're looking at yourself trying to be serious and stuff like that, and you just can't. Like it's
Yeah,
not
dude,
possible.
you can't.
That probably one of my criticisms I'd have to say is that they try to make us like super serious badasses and stuff like that. And you can't make me look like a badass. As much as
Yeah,
it'd be cool to be one, but like I wear sandals as my shtick. I freaking have a shek bit of a hair. I'm a bit weird, probably a lot more weird. And if you look at my Twitter profile, for Christ's sake, I'm a sloth right now. I'm a hybrid sloth human in sandals.
yeah,
Like there's no way to make me look out like to be a badass. And I think that that was probably a mistake on their part not to really go towards the just highlight my weirdness and my quirkiness and stuff like that. Same thing like Dragon. There's no chance on whatever god is out there. There's no chance that you make Dragon look badass.
yeah,
And it
and like doing the crossed armed like esports pose that
crossed up, yeah,
like
real
that
quick like that.
like that doesn't automatically give you badass points. Like the crossed
No,
arm, like slowly looking from the camera up. You know the esports pose. Everyone knows the
yeah, the
esports.
esports pose, you look turn a little bit to the side and stuff like that. There's no way to make that look cool for certain people. You just look like you're cold at some points.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, obviously, there are people that can pull off the
yeah,
badassery, like
like
Hayate.
Hayate. Like
Yeah.
Hayate is a cool dude. You
Hmm.
got, piercing his hair and stuff like that. You could do the esports pose with him. That's perfectly fine. You
Yeah.
you cannot do it for a guy like me or Dragon or even you, Mr. Grandpa.
Yeah.
Like there's no chance. And I think that was a mistake on their part, not highlighting the weirdness of each person and stuff like that.
I feel like there was
That's
like, yeah, I feel like there was like a suit telling these producers, so you're gonna deal with gamers. I don't care what game it is, whether it's Super Mario 64 or Zelda, the one where you play as Zelda. Just make them look cool. Make these people look badass. Show to the world that gamers are cool. Like, you can't force that stuff onto players. Let them be themselves. Let it flow like water. Just make it natural.
okay, Bruce Lee, calm down. Just
Oh,
calm down for a second there.
oh, you're talking about the Bruce Lee where he's like flow like water and stuff.
Yeah, he's like the floor I'm sorry, I'm gonna do a really bad impression. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like flow like. But yeah, no, I 100% agree that you should let it go and let it like flow. That's like one of my probably my biggest gripe about it.
Uh,
Um, I hope like they do another season stuff like that they'll know like maybe we gotta what's it called just let everything flow like water.
mm-hmm. Just be like Discovery Channel, where you let them be themselves and you just have them like as an exhibit with like a British narrator in the background saying, "And now we have the white boy in his natural habitat, saying Scarecrow is bottom 10."
at a Starbucks right now ordering a pumpkin spice latte. He doesn't know anyone's watching him.
Exactly.
He's been spotted. Run.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't. Don't make it like that. But like, yeah, it's just, I get it. I get it. Now I'm just picturing that, just like like just hearing narration in the background, like I'm just ordering, just like what the hell is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
um, Again, they were very nice though. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that they still came to our community and did it like recorded us. It didn't show 100% our true colors besides Sonic because Sonic's so esports and Hollywood, like it doesn't matter, like do whatever he wants.
Hmm.
Um, I do think it is great that they highlighted us and stuff like that, and maybe it'll bring some recognition to the scene, bring new people in.
Hmm.
Um, so that was definitely a benefit of that. Like like you got. I did get on TV, even if it was a little bit. I did get on it. Still pretty cool. Bragging rights up the roof.
Yeah.
So like, what did you do? I was on TV.
Because even the bragging rights, that also like reflects you as a player. I know that you're mostly nice, you're a very very polite guy, but
Mostly.
I can totally like imagine you just walking to your Florida local with the CEO belt saying all of you guys can hold that.
Oh, like, that was. I would say that's one of the, if you. There's like one moment. There's a couple of moments I think I was genuine and stuff like that, but like really real. Like I purposely that walk, that cheesy, terribly like weird walk that I was doing the entire time. I said I was gonna do that. I wanted because that I like that's what I would do. I would walk in as the douchiest way I could possibly can, and I would 100% would be like, you guys just gotta hold that as I shine my belt. I'd be rubbing the belt and stuff like that. 100% true.
Oh my god, you would totally do
And
that.
but local is also true because like at least we talk massive crap to each other the entire time. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
it was a bit
natural.
exaggerated, but that was still the basis of us just having insults back and forth and stuff like that is was true.
Yeah. I mean,
So
even when you and I played casuals at Injustice Pro Series finals, like we had our friendly trash talk where I would like get you with something and you just say you're garbage, you're garbage, you're garbage,
yeah,
you're
that's
fucking
definitely
garbage.
yeah. Sometimes before I go to bed I recite that sometimes, but
Jeez.
um yeah, it's definitely true. Like it's fun talking crap to a person like that. It's like you think you're good, man? Yeah, you think you're great? Just did a half screen mid that's 8 frames. It's great. Great to get a breath that you can control at any time and let go. Yeah, it's high skill, man. I don't know how you do it. Like it's fun talking trash to a person like that.
Wow, I can
That's
like I had to get my bulletproof vest out for like the shots fired there.
yeah. The high praise, high praise. Um, it's fun doing that, and like yeah, you want to know the reason why you're winning, my man? Character is garbage. Those are the best moments. Like when I. This is a little bit side off topic, but I do remember one of my moments where I was like went inside my shirt and like hid away was when we were playing casuals at CEO and I was doing well, like
Mhm.
really well.
You were bodying
And
me, just
I
saying.
was I was destroying your soul. It
Yeah.
was awesome. Because you destroyed my soul so many times and Justice One like stopped me from getting higher placements and stuff like that. So it felt good.
Hmm.
And you stop the game. You look at me. He's like, Nick, I'm not mad that you're beating me. I can accept that. But 2 weeks ago, you had texted me saying that a retard could do what I was doing. I want to know what do you think of that now? I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a bit of rage. Just staring at me, waiting for a response.
I mean, I just want to give some context to people watching this on YouTube. Imagine you were playing a friend, right? And
Yeah,
that friend said to you that this matchup is so bad for my character that the dumbest, most non-functioning player can win in this
rock,
matchup.
rock.
Like a rock can win in this matchup.
Yeah,
Now imagine that same person that told you that 2 weeks later beats you like 30-6 in a set, and then you turn over and say to them, "So I'm losing 6-30. Am I a rock? Am I so bad that I'm just a rock of a player?" Yeah, those were dark times. Those were very well bright times for you
I'm not
because you won
judging
the
it.
tournament.
Big time.
Yeah, but dark times for me as a player.
Oh, yeah, so that was like a very fun moment. Stuff like that.
I did want to ask you this though. One thing that always impressed me about you in when you were my peer in both Injustice One and Injustice Two was how much you labbed situations in training mode. You were one of the most consistent at stuffing wake ups and studying your situations after whether you're at plus frames or minus frames. And that being said, a lot of people ask me when I stream my games, hey Theo, how do I use training mode effectively? And it's an amazing question. So I just want to relay
Sure.
that question to you as one of my personal favorite lab monsters. How do you use training mode effectively and know that it's making you a better player using it the way you do?
You play Dead by Daylight. No, it's it's a great question because the only real wrong answer, it's 100% wrong answer. I'd say it's just saying I don't use training mode. I think that's like the only real. I don't only play online matches, and that's okay. I think that's the only real wrong answer you can say for when you use talking about training mode because there's so many things you can do in training mode with all the features and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always depending on your character. Like if you play a zoner, you should look at the specific patterns you should do, except AI, what you could things like that, frame traps and full screen. But when you play a character that relies on knockdown and plus frames, it's a indictment on yourself and stuff like that, and you're not labbing every possible scenario. If you go in tournament not labbing those scenarios, like oh he jumped there, I didn't know that. That's on you. Like you play
Mm-hmm.
that character, you play a mid tier character, or you play those kind of characters like that. That is on. That you don't like. Oh he jumped there, I couldn't. He backdashed it. I didn't know he could do that. Plus
Mm-hmm.
the character has a broke backdash. But cat. uh, but yeah, I think it's very important to practice, stuffing in the wake ups and stuff like that. If you're not Harrison Oki character, the mind games after a certain like move, like Geese Wave. I'll set Scarecrow to do a Geese Wave.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Fear Inferno, but I call it the Geese Wave. Some people call it Green Hands.
The green
um,
hands.
pile Geese Wave, but it's +6, so you can always backdash there. So then you have to look at what can I chase it down with optimally. Um,
Fuck. Hey, can you hear me, Nick?
Okay, you just got back. You just completely froze for me. Thankfully.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so go ahead and talk about when you talked about plus six and the backdash. Go ahead and start from there.
From there, like you want me to start Geese Wave?
Yeah, easily.
All right, so Geese Wave, it's +6, so you can always backdash it. That's really guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to then like, what can I do to chase down that backdash? And you have to also take into note, especially that as well. You have to look at every character's backdash because some are better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cap lines. I'm gonna repeat that a second time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look into the scenarios and what you can do to counter that character's backdash or whatever jump or whatever they want to do. And you have to do it all. Like if you don't do it all, and that it comes back to bite you in the ass because you didn't look at I could do this. I could chase down this backdash here, but like Catwoman just escaped because it's just too far. I should have labbed and see what could I've done to chase that down.
Yeah, exactly. Not labbing one specific situation could cost you a tournament set or even a top eight. Not
Exactly.
knowing that you could have backdashed something.
Yeah. That was my and again, not just backdash. When can I poke out? What frame trap can I do and stuff like that? Can he jump this? Can he armor this?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go through all those scenarios and stuff like that. Or yeah, it can cost you eventually.
Yeah, definitely. But all right, man. So I think we're close to reaching our 1 hour mark. So I think at this point, the best thing that I can ask you is there any shoutouts that you would like to give good sir?
Shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, let me get in position for this. All right. So shout outs to all support and stuff like that from my sponsors. Renegades, like been really good to me, sending me out all stuff like that to these tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a dream come true. Go to Europe and stuff like that at my age. Check the sponsors behind them and stuff like that's great. Also, really big thing, since they support me even when I don't succeed. It's like, hey, it's the next one, man. And stuff like that. It's really a boost as a player when you have that kind of support.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank friends, family for always cheering me on, even though when I get fourth, it's like still don't want to hear, "Hey, you got fourth, still congratulations." No, that's not congratulations, but it's still great to have that kind of support, and everyone that cheered for me and stuff like that, or came up to me during tournaments saying, "Hey, I love your scarecrow," and I picked him up because of you. It seems cheesy, but it really means the world. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you hear someone like, "Hey, man, I picked up Scarecrow because of you, because of your CEO performance," and it just felt it was just great and stuff like that. And you just feel like shucks, man.
Aw.
But thank everyone for supporting me, and I hope to do if there's a season 2 to kind of redeem myself for you guys, get Scarecrow and E-League if there is one, or just into IPS finals at the very end,
For sure, man.
or Hellboy. See.
Yeah, Hellboy. We'll see, man. I predict he'll be announced at E-League, but we'll see.
Maybe I can go from Bill Crow to Hellbill,
Hellbill. That's
Billboy,
hilarious.
Billboy.
Billboy. That's awesome. Billboy. But yeah, all right, man. So that concludes episode 2 of the last podcast of Krypton. Whiteboi, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. It's really been fantastic. So,
Thanks.
like we said, guys, even though this one wasn't live, it will always be live every Thursdays, with the exception of Thursdays that I'm at tournaments at. So yeah, stay tuned for next time. And for anyone that watches this on YouTube, thank you guys for watching.